Hello everyone, today we are going to know about looper, message queue and handler, how to use these when we create this thread in the intro. So what does it do? First we start this thread and then it executes some tasks which we assign to this thread, and at the last it terminates. It means that it has some process. We can't handle it from outside. We can do anything here because we cannot handle it from outside another thread. First we create a thread, start thread, run some tasks and terminate the task here, thread here. First there are some tasks which I have told you. This is called message queue. In this message queue is first we assign one task, then another, and so on, n number of tasks here. What is message queue? Message queue is a message loop or message queue which it is a message loop. It is a loop which runs and how much we have given tasks to it, which basically contain a list of messages or runnables, a set of execute code. Runnable are set of execute code. It contains some messages which we have assigned to this. This task 1 is one message, this is another, and so on. These all are called message queue. These are in queue one by one. Then first this one executes and this one, and one by one these are execute. Now there is another thing here. Looper is a worker that serves a message queue for current thread. Looper loops through message queue and sends messages to corresponding handler to process. These whole messages here in this message queue, this does not execute themselves. This should be executes from outside. What it executes? It executes from looper. Looper is by name, it is clear, I think. It loops these all messages here in the one loop, first this one and so on. It does not execute themselves. Okay, now the another thing here, handler. What is handler here? A handler allows communicating back with UI thread from other background thread. As we have created another thread in the last video, if you haven't watched, I suggest please first watch that. And we would also create it in this video. It access the UI thread from the background thread which we have created for the specific task here. Android handles all the UI operation and input events from one single thread which is as called the main or UI thread. Android collects all events in this thread in a queue and processes this queue with an instance of a looper class. Android handles all the UI operation, means these all operations are first handled with the main UI thread. It's a single thread which is known as called a main or UI thread. And as I have told you in the last video, what is main thread or UI thread? The life cycle of the activity, this comes in the UI thread. Android collects all events in this thread in a queue and processes this queue. First is collect all events and then process the queue with an instance of a looper class, which because of looper class, a looper class executes one by one. Let me show you handler. What does it do? Look, this is a message queue. These are tasks here. One by one it execute, but what take it execute? First this one execute. It cannot be executed until this is finished. So because these all are in one loop here, but if we want here another task, we cannot put it during this looper because we can do it from the thread. So what we need to do, we should do it from the handler class. Post a task here, and we can also dispatch through handle. We can also create here one task, and we can also assign here one task, and even we can remove this if this is running and I don't want to execute this task too, so I can't remove it through handler class. Let me do it using coding. This was our theory class here. This is our theory class here. In this main activity I have done these 4 buttons I've created here. Look, start thread, here do thing, start thread, stop, and task A and task B. And I have also created as listeners for these 4 buttons here. So first I would do here what I would do to create a Messagequeue here. Let me create one class, Java class, example handler, HandlerThread, and it should extend thread. I override one function here, run. Remove this, and what you should do first here to give you an idea how to do it, first create a for loop for, and let me give here 5. This is done. I first show one log d. It is a shortcuts. Okay, you would also learn about shortcuts in the Android Studio here in this. So for this tag, first create another shortcut log t for this tag here, and do one thing here is run. Let it be like this, and plus I, also show I with this. Now here give it a sleep here, system clock dot sleep, and let me give 1 second. 1000 millisecond is used for 1 second. And here let me show another log here, log this remove, and here end of task. When it finish, so it would show this. Okay, let me create an object of this example thread, and a new example handler thread here. Now in the start button here, example handler thread dot start, it would get started. Let me run this app now. Now look, this app is running here, and let me copy this tag here and search in this debug option. First come to this locate, click on this locate here, and in this search option paste this one. And now when I click on this start button here, look there, this is printing 1 by 1. It gives 1 second here, and this is end of task. This was a loop here, and when I click on this start, it would crash here because it does not start the thread again and again. We can start it through handler. We use handler for this. It is in the same position like here, as I've told you. Use a handler here. To remove it from this stage, we would use a handler. Now here what I would do here, I have done this for loop here. This loop is done, and when I click again on this start, it is crashing. Why? Because we have just started it once. It's not in the loop. So to solve this problem, what you have to do here, you have to create a handler. Create handler class here, handler, and here in this handler equal new handler. This is done. You should import the operating system one, this one. Okay, as you can see, this one, not the logging one. You have to import this one. Okay, and now it's done. Now when I run this app here, now look here, when I click on start, it is crashing. Why this is crashing? It is showing the same, can't create a handler inside thread that has not called a looper class. So first you need to create a looper class. So here do one thing here about this handler class. Okay, not below looper.prepare. Do this, and below this handler class you should do it in a sequence, you should not do it in a mesh sequence. Okay, so here looper.loop must be below the handler class, so a handler can handle this. Okay, when I run this now look here, when I click start here, it is still, this is responsive, the UI is responsive, and this is done. Now let me comment this first and do one thing here in this task 1 button, as I have created here in this I have created these 4 buttons. So in this task 1, create one thread, example thread dot handler dot post. You can also create another function here like postDelayed and sendMessage, etc. But let me do it with this post first, and here new, create a runnable this, and here what you have to do is first create a for loop function here, and here let me give 5 here, and also show a log here, log d. Okay, and here concatenate it I with I, and also here give some sleep here, so system clock dot sleep, let me give 1 second, 1000 millisecond is equal to 1 second. So this is done. Now when I run this app, now here let me show you this. First give this tag here and this, and when I click on this start, for what it would do, first it would start this handler class. Okay, this handler thread, let me click, this is started now, and when I click on this task A, look, this is running, this loop is running again, look here, and when I click again it would run, and the UI is still responsive. Now if I click again, if I run this app again, and before clicking, let me clear this, before starting this thread, and when I click on this task A, it is not started yet. So when I click on it, it would crash, the app would crash. Why? It is a time, the handler is not started it here. So first you must start it here. We have started it in this start thread button by the start thread button. So first start this, and then it would work, this task would work. Now here what we would do, let's go to this example handler thread, and here above this loop handler, first let me create here a looper, here public looper, and it should be from this operating system one. Okay, looper and looper semicolon, and here initialize this looper equal, here looper equal to new dot mylooper, this. Okay, now let's go to this main activity. First for what we are doing this, why I have created this. Now we can also finish this thread. Let me use it here in this stop thread, example handler thread. I have created, this is the object of that class here, dot looper, access that looper, and dot quit. Okay, we can also use here dot quit safely, but let me use now here a quit here. Okay, I can also do it like like this, example dot handler dot mylooper dot get looper dot quit, but these both are same, so let me do it the above one. Okay, and here now we can also access because of this it is public now, so we can also access it here. So we can also create a handler here, handler thread handler equal new handler. Here pass example dot looper. Okay, this is done. And now here what you should do here, just remove this, and here just paste this thread handler, comment this, and here paste this thread handler. Now when we run this, it would work the same. And let me run. Now look, this is running here, and let me start it first here, and task A. Look, this is running. Let me start it again, and when I click on this task stop, look, this is stop here. So we can stop it here, okay, everywhere. Okay, like let me paste this. Now when this finish, it would show this again. Let me run. Now let me start, and then task A, and when I click on this stop, it would show here end of task. Now one question arises in mind that if this is a message queue, why we use here, why here we pass the runnable, why don't we pass a message? To understand this, let me comment this first, and here let me create a message here, like message, and you should print this operating system one, and message equal, and you can also pass new because it is also public, so we don't need a new. We could directly do this by message.obtain, the default one. We may also pass this one in the upcoming videos, but now let me pass this by default one. Okay, and here what I would pass, message dot what is this, what it is I think a little funny. What is what mean, what is used for just identifying this message, and it is simple integer. Let me pass here 1 for example, and here what I would pass, message, here I would send this, so example thread, and here handler dot send message, and I would pass this, it requires this message, so I would pass this message here, and let me copy this the same here, copy, and here in this task B I would also paste it here, and let me change this to 2. Okay, let me create first a handler class here. Now another class and Java class, and here give a name of example handler, and extend this with the handler. Which one? Not this logging one, you should extend it with this operating system one. And here one thing here, or write one method here, handleMessage, and this super class is empty, so I would remove this. And here what you have to do is you are receiving the message here, so whatever you want to do it with the message, you would do here. So let me now identify which one of message is receiving. So for that, what we would use, switch case, switch msg dot what, look, this is receiving, so, and now we would create a cases here, case task A. We can also identify it with the integer which we have passed there, but I don't want to identify it with that. I would create here the static variables here. So for that psfi and here task A and pass 1 here. Duplicate this and this one task B, and here also create a log t. This done. Now here this print one log here, log d with the plus what you have to print here, and just print here instead of this, just print task A is executed, and here take a break, copy this and paste this same and change it to task B. Here change the value to 2 and here task B executed. Then now what you have to do, just come to this example HandlerThread class, and instead of this handler we would pass this handler because we have customized it and we have created it ourselves. So let me pass it. Instead of this I would pass example handler. So now we would receive this example handler here, and here also pass the task A and import it. Now here just import this one, the static variable, and here also task B. Alright, now let me run this. What we get here, let me run. Now look here, when I start this thread here and then when I click on the task A, look, it is showing task A is executed, and when I click on this task B here, look, task B is executed. So this was all about this executing this handler message queue and using looper. It was a theoretical class, it was not a practical class. It was just a theoretical class. You should not do the same as I have done. You should not copy the same to your project. It is just a theoretical class to get some idea how what problems are we facing and what we should do with it. But you should not copy it the same to your project because your scenario may be different. Okay, and my scenario here, it is just a theoretical class, so it's I haven't created any scenario here. So it was all about that, and if you got the idea how to do that, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and also press the bell icon to get regular updates. Thank you.